The alarm shrieked as Commander Elara Chen's neural implant jolted her awake, flooding her consciousness with emergency protocols before her eyes even opened. Station Helios was breaching containment on all levels.
Quantum singularity, destabilizing, collapse imminent. T-minus 7 minutes.
The AI's voice remained eerily calm as chaos erupted through the corridors of humanity's most advanced deep space research facility. Elara's bare feet slapped against the cold metal floor as she sprinted toward the quantum core. The gravitational fluctuations had already begun, objects floating momentarily before crashing down with twice their normal weight. 3 researchers lay crushed beneath a server bank, their bodies contorted at impossible angles. No time to help them now. The station's superstructure groaned, metal twisting under forces it was never designed to withstand. Through the viewport, the stars themselves seemed to bend and stretch like molten glass. "Status report," she barked into her comm as the facility's lights flickered in crimson pulses. "It's the Karis experiment," Dr. Novak's voice crackled through static. "We weren't just bending space-time. We tore it. Something's coming through from the other side." His voice dropped to a whisper. "God help us all!" A deafening metallic screech echoed through the corridor as a maintenance bot was suddenly compressed to the size of a coffee cup, then exploded outward in a spray of superheated shrapnel. Elara ducked, feeling hot metal slice across her cheek. The quantum observation chamber doors hissed open as she approached. Inside, the containment field glowed with impossible colors that human eyes were never meant to process. Ultraviolet purples bleeding into infrared reds, punctuated by flashes of something that existed beyond the visible spectrum entirely. At its center, suspended in midair, a perfect sphere of absolute darkness pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. "We need to collapse the field," Elara said, hands already flying across the emergency protocols console. Blood from her lacerated cheek spattered the display. Novak grabbed her wrist, his grip painfully tight. "We can't, look!" Within the darkness, something was taking shape, fingers reaching through the breach from another reality altogether. The air itself seemed to scream as fundamental laws of physics were violated, molecules splitting and recombining in patterns that defied all scientific understanding. "They've been watching us," Novak whispered. "Our experiments were a beacon, and now they've found the way in." The fingers became a hand, became an arm, an appendage that seemed to shift between states of matter with each passing second, solidifying, then dissolving into vapor, crystallizing, then liquefying. The sphere expanded, and the station's hull groaned under forces no engineer had ever designed it to withstand. "What the hell is it?" Elara demanded, fighting the primal urge to run. "Not it, them. We thought we were pioneering quantum research, but we were just children poking at the door of beings who mastered these forces eons ago." Novak's eyes were wide, with a mixture of terror and awful revelation. The mathematics was trying to tell us. The equations weren't just descriptions, they were warnings. The station's AI cut in, its voice distorted now, stretching and compressing like a dying audio file.
"Neutron density increasing exponentially. A human survival probability approaching 0.
Elara made her decision. "Initiate Protocol Omega. Prepare the station for self-destruct." "That won't stop them." Novak's face had gone slack with terror. "They exist outside our conception of space-time. They're already here. They always were." A security officer burst into the room, plasma rifle raised. Before he could fire, his body contorted, bones snapping audibly as he was folded in on himself by invisible forces, imploding with a wet crunch that made Elara's stomach heave. The breach widened, and as Elara stared into that perfect darkness, she realized with absolute certainty that it was staring back, with a cold intelligence that made her feel like an insect being regarded by a human. "This isn't an invasion," she whispered, finally understanding. "It's a correction." The darkness began to speak, not with sound, but directly into her mind, bypassing her auditory system entirely. The voice was millions of voices, layered atop one another in a symphony of impossible harmonics.
We have watched your species since your first atoms cohered. You have reached the threshold. The error must be rectified.
Elara felt her body responding to forces beyond her control, her very molecules vibrating in resonance with the entity's will. The air around her shimmered as reality itself bent to accommodate something that had no right to exist in this universe. "What do you want?" she managed to gasp, even as she felt her consciousness being stretched across multiple planes of existence simultaneously. The entity paused, seeming almost curious at her resistance.
Want is a concept bound by linear time. We do not want, we maintain.
The sphere expanded further, engulfing the quantum core. Alarms blared one final time before falling silent, as if the very concept of warning had become meaningless. Through the observation window, Elara could see the stars outside beginning to realign themselves into impossible geometries. With her last moment of human consciousness, Elara activated the emergency beacon. Not that it would help anyone now. The quantum breach wasn't just consuming Station Helios, it was rewriting the fundamental structure of reality itself. As the darkness enveloped her, Elara felt her mind expanding beyond the limits of her physical brain, encompassing understandings that no human was meant to comprehend. In that final moment of transformation, she realized that humanity had never been the apex of evolution, merely a stepping stone toward something far beyond their comprehension. And then, Station Helios ceased to exist, not destroyed, but translated into something else entirely. A bridge between universes, a doorway for what was coming next. Across Earth and its colonies, billions of humans looked up simultaneously as the night sky began to change. General Amar Rodriguez stood on the roof of the United Earth Defense Headquarters, watching as the stars rearranged themselves into patterns that no astronomer had ever documented. The quantum relays had gone silent hours ago, the last transmission from Station Helios containing only fragmented data in Commander Chen's final report. "Evacuation status?" she demanded, not taking her eyes off the sky. "Impossible, ma'am," her aide replied. "We've nowhere to go. The anomaly is spreading exponentially. It's everywhere at once." The general nodded, her face betraying no emotion. 27 years in Earth's military had prepared her for many things, but not for the end of reality as they understood it. The entity, or entities, that had breached through Station Helios now surrounded Earth like a vast web of darkness punctuated by points of impossible light. Communications worldwide reported the same phenomenon, regardless of location. It wasn't an atmospheric event. It was a fundamental restructuring of spacetime itself. The quantum defense grid? Online, but ineffective. "You can't fight this, ma'am." The general's comm device chimed with an incoming transmission, one that, according to its signature, originated simultaneously from every quantum relay in the system. She activated it with trembling fingers. The voice that emerged was Commander Chen's, but not. It resonated with harmonic layers that made Rodriguez's teeth ache and vision blur.
Humanity is not ending. It is transitioning.
"Who am I speaking to?" the general demanded. "Identify yourself."
We are the architects. Your species has created the conditions for ascension. The pain you experience is merely the shedding of limitations.
Around the world, people were changing, not dying, something far stranger. Their bodies remained, but consciousness expanded, neural pathways reconfiguring to accommodate understanding beyond human capacity. Rodriguez felt it beginning within herself, the boundaries of her mind dissolving, connecting to something vast and ancient. For a moment, she fought against it, clinging desperately to her humanity.
Resistance is unnecessary. This is not destruction, but evolution.
With her last moment of purely human thought, Rodriguez understood. The Keras experiment hadn't torn reality. It had revealed what existed beyond it. Humanity had reached an evolutionary threshold, and the universe was responding not with hostility, but with a terrible gift. As the transformation completed, Earth remained, but its inhabitants had become something new, something that existed simultaneously across multiple planes of reality. Their consciousness expanded beyond the limitations of physical form. The age of humanity had ended. The age of what came after had begun.